So hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have guests tomorrow. Oh, sorry, we have guests tomorrow. We have a couple of friends coming over to see the baby, so I have to prep something for them. So I'm using capital chicken. This is the family pack. It's basically 2 kilograms assorted pieces of chicken, and it works so perfectly. And I felt like this is something I should use during this time, because other than buying like maybe like one whole chicken and everything, because it's about like around 8 people coming, I don't want to have 10 people in the house and the pieces of chicken are not actually enough. So this is why I went with this. I got this from Capital Shoppers, then Tinder branch, and wow, yes, they actually are quite affordable for anyone. If you have like a number of guests coming around, like so many people, other than struggling to buy like single pieces or anything like that, I feel like this is something that is worth it. So I'm using this big katasa. Yeah, it can be like a utensils person like to use in this, because I don't have anything else I can marinate. I usually marinate from like my glass bowls that you've seen in like a couple of videos, but this is a lot of chicken. I originally, like, I actually got like 3 packs, but I think I'm going to use only two. And the pieces is actually big, like they're big enough. That's one thing I like about this family pack, is that they're not trying to chop up pieces into like finer pieces. No, they are leaving them big, which is nice for me. So I first defrosted them. I got them frozen. I defrosted them. They still have a little bit of defrosting to do, but I think that works perfectly. And so let's just get started on that. And this is all the chicken I was able to get from the 2 packs. I decided to just do two because honestly, it's enough. I feel like anyone can eat like around 3 pieces. This other pack, I'm just going to leave it in here. I will be able to use it just home, like having this in January. Alhamdulillah, it's something to thank Allah for, and we'll use it then. So the next thing is to start marinating. And I have a couple of things. Of course, I have to add some soy sauce because it adds a little bit of sodium in it, but at the same time, it gives it like that kind of darkness. So all the spices, I'm going to mix them in this bowl. But then I also have, I made a cilantro and garlic mix. It can also be called coriander and garlic mix. It's just coriander with garlic and then a little bit of oil and salt. And this works so well. I don't know, it just enhances the flavor and I love it. It's my first time using this marinade in like a batch of chicken like this, but I've used it like on chicken breast and everything, and it turns out like so good. I get that garlic because I love garlic, but at the same time I love the coriander, so it's just perfect. Also, the soy sauce, I was talking about it. I have to use dark soy sauce, and then I'm going to put in these Royco cubes, the chicken ones. I have another tin that is usually Royco, yes, this one, but I don't want to use it in this one. I want to use the Royco cubes. I just want to know the difference in taste, whether using the cubes all that. So the red ones are beef, and then these yellow ones are actually the ones of chicken. And I'm going to put that in. Also, a disclaimer as I continue. I know my mouth in the video is saying probably something different. This is a voiceover. My audio file was corrupted in the original audio, so in the original video, so I had to do a voiceover. Yeah, and as I was still saying, this is the spices I'm using. I'm also obviously using black pepper because that's a staple, with a little bit of turmeric. I don't know if I still have enough, but at least I had enough to actually marinate the chicken the way I actually wanted to do it. One thing about turmeric is that it's like the natural dye you need, and of course, paprika and curry powder. But then there is this curry powder. So, my mom at home, we used to use this curry powder like a lot. So every single time I use it, I kind of like remember home. It's just like, I don't know, it just gives me one warm vibe. So of course I'm going to use both of them in this chicken because I just want whoever bites into it to just feel like it is home. It's like a little bit of home. And I'm using both. Why? Because Alhamdulillah I am able to and I can. So a little bit of home and a little bit of just, I don't know, funkiness of curry powder, and of course salt. Don't forget to salt your chicken. Do not forget to salt your chicken. I feel like if you made that error, it would be such a tremendous one. So please don't forget. Now, why is my salt in a tin that is probably packaged for something else? We recycle in this house. I have always recycled. My parents recycle. We recycle. So all these spices, I'm going to put them in the bowl, but this coriander and garlic is going to go in first in the what? In the chicken. So first things first, I'm putting in curry powder, and as have said a number of times, I do not measure, especially for like cooking things that are savory. When I'm cooking things that are sweet, maybe baking or anything like that, I can measure because I want to be precise so that the recipe actually turns out well. Other than that, please, I don't measure. I just don't measure. So don't take my word for it. I just feel in the soul as it actually goes. So yes, that's curry powder in. I've put some paprika and then some black pepper. Black pepper, just be mindful as you put it in because it makes you sneeze most of the time. So just be so careful as you put that in. And then lastly, I put in the turmeric. As I said earlier, turmeric is like that natural dye. So when you're using turmeric alone, it gives like the yellow kind of coating, but it also has its own health benefits. So just be mindful when you're using that, especially if you're going to put your food on like a white kind of surface. It stains, and if you're using your fingers to actually marinate, you have to be so careful knowing that your nails are going to stain. So that's why I actually marinate whenever I'm touching, like in chicken when it has the spices. I make sure I'm actually gloved up. So next, the marinade, the madras curry powder, it goes in, and yeah, that is the end of the spices. For the Royco cubes, actually, yes, I have to also put the Royco cubes. So mix up your spices very well, because you want, whenever you're coating like the chicken, so that all goes in. You could, if you can pour the spices over the chicken. I do not recommend that. I don't know. I don't speak from any power of authority. I'm not trained as a cook or anything like that. But I feel like if you just pour the spices on there, they may not exactly. And you, it's like you're not going to. Okay, you know what? Just, you know what? I'm not going to explain myself. Just Just avoid doing it. It works that way. So this is what the chicken cube actually looks like. It's a cube, as I said, and I'm going to put in around like five. Now all you have to do is kind of like smash them between the fingers, and they bring that. There are people who choose to kind of like put them in water and then mix it up. I don't have that time. I'm trying to do it as fast as I can. So that's what you get. Then the salt will actually come in like afterwards, because I can measure my salt. I don't have a problem with that. So for this, let me do this off camera. I'll get back after I'm done putting it. And as you can see, I've put in all the Royco cubes. I just want to mix it up a bit, and then just make sure that whichever piece of chicken I put this marinade on, it's getting a mixture of all the spices I've put in. It's like the entire surface of the chicken is going to be covered by every single spice. So I add a little bit of oil in the marinade, because okay, first of all, the chicken, alhamdulillah, that we got, it's muluganda, it's nsava, it's very fatty and nice. It's okay, it's perfect chicken. Okay, what's even perfect chicken? Okay, just know I don't know how to translate it to English. I'll figure it out probably after I'm done recording. But nsava, it has a little bit of fat on it, and it has some flesh on it, which works perfectly. So just to add to the spices, I'm adding soy sauce and a little bit of oil. Why? Because that's how I'm doing it, just because I want it as a paste as it goes into the chicken. I don't want it to be all powder and everything. I just want it to be coated onto the chicken, so that later on it just gets into the chicken. I want that bite, like the bite, to be so meaningful and tasty after it's all done. So that's why I want it as a paste. It's easier to spread a paste than a powder. Actually, that's science. I don't know, just science and logic. It's easier to spread a paste than a powder. I'm adding a little bit of more oil because it's still a little bit pasty. Oh, okay, it's still a little bit like chunky, and I don't want it to be like that. It has like clumps of powder in it, and I just want it to be like smooth and consistent, so that it actually works for me quite well. This is, I think, the first time I'm cooking for a large number of people since I got married. That's one. But secondly, it's also the first time I'm cooking for a large number of people since I had a baby in November. So that says something. And inshallah, I just want this to be successful. I want everyone to enjoy the food, and I want it to just turn out so right. And that's like my prayer, because I'm a little bit nervous about it. And so I'm hoping like the menu for this time is just going to be chicken, and then potatoes. I want to do potato wedges, and then I think a little salad on the side, and then watermelon for like dessert. I think that just works perfectly. I don't want to add, oh, and also mango juice, because I feel like it just completes everything. And yeah, so now it's time to put the marinade in. First things first, I have to glove up. I've shown you this pack of gloves, I think, every single time I've had the chance to. I got this still from Capital Shoppers. I think you can get it from a number of shops. It has like 100 plastic gloves in there. They are disposable, and that's why I like them. I can just use and then put aside. And yeah, They you number one, you should make sure your hands are dry before you actually put them on, because if they are not, it's going to be all weird to put it on. It's a little bit more difficult to put on if your hands are actually wet. But yeah, mine are dry, so I just want to get this on and then get started on the chicken. So the other thing about chicken is that I found it helpful to marinate like 24 hours ahead of time, just to get everything out of the way. Because I feel like if you're having guests on the same day and then you have to first wake up, marinate, I don't think the spices will actually get in as fast as you might want them to. So just doing it a day ahead can actually help. So first things first, I'm doing this coriander and garlic mix. It's the first thing going in. I like the taste of this. I like the smell of it, and we do not waste any spice. We have to make sure every single bit of it actually gets into the the chicken. So put your fingers in there, just play around a bit, and make sure everything actually gets out. So this is the green I was talking about earlier. You can choose to just marinate with just as simple as this. Just garlic and coriander, put a little bit of salt, and it's a marinade still. However, nah, I'm not trying to end on this. I just want to go all extra. Now for the spices, you have to make sure everything is out. So even what's on the spoon, I have to get it out. And then put in the spices into the chicken. As I was talking about it earlier, see, when it's a paste, it's easier to just kind of pour over, and then you later like just kind of push it within what you're doing, which would be contrary to powder, at least in my experience. And then next thing is the salt. Yes, have to put in enough salt, and as I said earlier, I do not measure. I just kind of go with the spirit, and then that's the salt I'm putting in to make sure I get this done and ready. So as I'm doing all this, I was trying to make sure I do not wake up uh, my son. He's sleeping just so close to me, and I have to make sure I do not wake him up. Now that is the tricky part of it. I feel like that's why even the audio, the original audio of me recording this video came out like a little bit funny, because I had to do everything while he stays asleep. Because sometimes during the day, when you talk like okay, when there is noise outside and then he has noise inside the house, he actually wakes up. So this is me trying to do everything while my son is still asleep. So just alhamdulillah, anyway, alhamdulillah for everything. For the chicken, don't be afraid to get in there. Like, put kasavu kanyama, put so kasavu kanyama, get in there. Make sure every piece of chicken is getting actually the spice and the marinade as you actually meant it, because you don't want to wake up the next morning and you have a few pieces just plain, no spice, nothing, just vibes and inshallah. We do not want that here. Make sure everything is just covered up. And the thing about disposable gloves you should know is that, okay, yeah, I have small hands, and sometimes, of course, the gloves are going to slip off, especially if I'm touching something very wet and, like messing up my hands and all that. So the other hand has to come in. Look at me being ambidextrous. Ambidextrous? Is that the word? Ambidextrous. Where you can use both your hands? Yes. Okay. Now the left hand has to come in. And just to make sure the marinade goes in perfectly. No messing this up. I did not come to play. I have to represent on the chicken. So one thing about me is that yes, I love cooking. I love cooking. At least like I'm passionate about it, but I also get very nervous about cooking. It's a very funny situation. Like, I get nervous cooking for groups of people. However, every single time I cook for a group of people and they love my food, I'm like, mashallah, alhamdulillah. Like, you're happy about it, but then you're also thankful that someone loves your food. You're also thankful that someone finds nourishment in what you actually give. So this chicken, I'm marinating it with the intention of, I hope and pray that the people I've made this for love it. So I'm going to put this in the fridge overnight. I'm going to cover it with some clean foil and then just leave it overnight in the fridge. Tomorrow I want to bake it like from like 8. The guests might come around like lunchtime, so that's like midday 1 or 1:30. So I want it slow baking from like 8 at around a temperature of like 100 degrees Celsius. That might work, or I can expedite depending on what I feel like doing. So this is the cling film that I'm going to use. I got this from, I think, Capital Shoppers. I'm not sure because most of the things I'm using today are either from Capital Shoppers or Carrefour. So wherever you find it, just get it. This is a very useful thing in a kitchen. At least I found that very, very useful. I've constantly found it very, very useful. So just peel off a bit of it. Now, this is the funny thing about cling film is that, man, it's sometimes not easy to use, especially if you're doing what I'm doing right now. If you're trying to record and cook at the same time, which means your video has to come out well, but also what you're doing has to come out perfectly. So yeah, we ended up with this, and I'm not trying to use this, I'm not trying to stretch it out. Do I have the time? Yes. Do I want to do it? No. Why? Because I don't want to do it. I don't like doing things I don't like doing. I cannot explain myself any further. So I think I'm just going to get another one because Kanovaba, tetikana jekagenda. I don't want to gamble with this. I don't want to gamble with food. So let me just get another one and then I'll get back after I do that. Yes, so this is what it's looking like. I'm going to put this aside. It looks good. Spice cake. I don't know. This is giving. This is giving. It's giving tasty. Good morning. Welcome still to the continuation of the vlog. So this is the chicken I marinated yesterday. My guests are coming in about 5 hours, I think. Not so sure, probably 5 hours. And I just have to get everything ready before they actually get here. So I'm going to put all this chicken on a baking tray and get it inside the oven. But first, let me first oil this tray. I don't want it sticking on there. So as I'm putting it on, I actually have to put it on skin side down, and that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, let me do that and then I'll see what comes next. So as I said earlier, the chicken was so much that I actually had to put a second pan on there, a second, sorry, baking tray to just accommodate everything. So Alhamdulillah, because originally when I went to buy this chicken, I actually thought it wasn't going to be enough, and being able to just have this all out there, as you can see, it's marinated. The color on it is just making perfect sense. So just putting it this on these two trays and then putting them in an oven as I prep the rest of the food for the guests. Yes. So this sauce I can choose to like put it on later, um, on the chicken after it's actually done baking, or since I'm making potatoes, I can actually put in the potatoes after they are done boiling before I actually air fry them or bake them, to just make sure they actually taste as good with the spice and everything, because for the potatoes I'm not planning to do much. Now the potatoes are here, the chicken is in the oven. Now it's time to work on these potatoes. Come on day. So I'm cooking Irish potatoes. I got these big ones. As you can see, the wedge is wedging. And I'm making rosemary potato wedges. All I did is just peel, chop them up, put them in water, and then put rosemary on top. It's going to do something, enhance like the flavor within the potatoes. And then lastly, you add a salt on there, be a salt bay on there. Make sure the salt is actually quite enough in the potatoes before you just let them boil. So the best thing about what, like, all the food I'm making is that it's simple food. Okay, not exactly simple food to make, but it is okay. I'm making few items that need exactly cooking. So that is like the advantage I have. It's just chicken and then potatoes. But there are moments where you're cooking and you have to make like a bunch of things, so it gets a little bit more complex. So as you can see right there on the oven, on the gas, you know, thingy, the what? Sorry, the Irish is actually boiling. Next thing is to work on the salad. I have those olives that have been in the fridge for a while. I don't know if I'll add them in the salad or not. We'll see how the day goes. So first things first, I have this green lettuce that, the remainder of what we've been using over the week. I have to take off this part. It's a little bit funky. So as you can see, it has this part that has like a little bit of the roots. So you can actually plant that and have grow your own lettuce in your own home. So that's what I'm going to do for actually both of them, because this one is green, but then is a little bit like of green. It has green, it has some red in it. Not exactly red, like purple-ish. Yeah, and I'm trying to be healthier this year, inshallah. I don't want to jinx it, but that's what I'm trying to do, get healthier. So having lettuce growing at my balcony makes sense to me. So this lettuce is just so airy and nice and crispy. I love it. However, anyway, just to tell you where I got this from Carrefour. That's Nalia. And yeah, and I think the salad is just going to turn out well, because there is like that burst of color. As I've talked, I don't know if I've talked about it before, but food presentation, I feel like color plays a big part in how you're presenting your food. So color matters here, and that's why we are having multicolored lettuce. So I'm going to wash this up, because you don't trust things you buy from supermarkets, especially groceries. Wash your vegetables. Otherwise, you'll get some funny things, some funny sicknesses, some funny, I don't know. Just wash your vegetables, man. So I have my cherry tomatoes here, and this is the bowl I'm going to put the salad in. I got this from which supermarket? I think Apito Shoppers. It's a Luminac bowl. I have the olives, I have the onion that's going to go in, and then the cucumber that is just washed and ready to be used. First things first is to chop up the lettuce and then just get everything going. So let me make this salad and I'll get back afterwards. So the only things I have left are the onions and then the cherry tomatoes. For the onions, since I've chopped them up like julienne, I just want them to be like single strands. I don't know, so I have to separate them. You could do that with your hands, or you could do that with a little bit of water. If you just put the onions in there and you actually separate them in there, it's a little bit easier. But since I'm not trying to do that, let me just sprinkle the way I see fit. It's a little bit like tedious, but hey, I want my salad to turn out quite nice, so I don't mind putting the work in it. So just collect this and then sprinkle all over your salad to just have a little bit of onion in this. So I'll have to make a dressing for the salad, but I'm not going to pour it on the salad. I'll put it on the side. So whoever picks the salad can actually put the amount of dressing they want. So next thing, it's the cherry tomatoes. You just kind of slice them in half and then we are done. So I think I'll just show you guys when I'm done with this entire salad. I'm going to do this off. So guess who forgot to record when she was done with the salad? Anyway, this is what the food looks like. Thank you so much for watching my video. Kindly subscribe. P.S. My guests love the food. Alhamdulillah. And yeah, this is what it turned out as. Alhamdulillah. Like, I'm just so grateful. Everything just turned out well. And then minus the food, we had I added a little bit of the mango juice on the side. So thank you for watching.